What up, friendships? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Put a thing to say that in the chat. Very good then, very good. Shall turn the music down a little bit there. There we go. Very good. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey everybody, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for showing up for the live streameroo. Streameroo. Hey, I'm just thankful to be part of your life in some small way. It's a joy. It's a joy. Well, hey, tell me the best thing that's happened to you in the last, I don't know, week or two. Tell me something. Tell me something good. Let's start out with some good news. I want to hear it. Oh boy, for me, oh my goodness. We finished a couple courses. Those were fun. Those were great. And that's been a joy to make those. And let's see what else. Yeah, I've had some great family time lately. I went on a road trip to Texas, from Oregon to Texas, with my cousin, who I hadn't talked to in a long time, and we got some quality time. It was great. Frenchie says, "I ate a baguette. It was good." Hey, Frenchie, good to see you, guys. If you don't know Frenchie color grading, she's amazing. She taught me how to speak French accent. She taught me how to speak French accent. Oh, a perfect accent. All you do is you just don't say half the word. That's all you got to do. It's true. It's true. Well, hey, if this is your first time here, like 2112ST, 2112ST, here's what we do. You can post any question you want in the chat. Typically it's about DaVinci Resolve, but I mean, I guess I could try and answer other questions too if you want, although it maybe less to say about those things. Who knows? And we can talk about it. We can nerd out about DaVinci Resolve, color grading, editing, fusion, compositing, graphics, any of that stuff. So if you want to talk about that, well, why don't you just post it? And we don't really have much of an agenda other than that. So we're just chilling. Have I tried Arc Raiders? I don't think I know what that is. Is that a game? I don't know what that is. How much RAM and what type of CPU would be good to run Resolve? I would recommend 32 gigs of RAM at least. That's my guess. I would do as much as you can. CPU, I would buy like the second best CPU these days and just go with that. I would buy like one that like you go and you just research the top CPU and get like its little brother. That's what I would recommend getting. If it's too expensive, then get the best one you can afford. You know, which one matters most when running DaVinci? RAM or GPU? Probably the GPU. Probably, but you need enough. It's like with RAM, you need enough RAM, and after a point, getting more RAM doesn't matter that much. But like a good GPU will, like a better GPU will typically always be better for Resolve in some way. I haven't researched this super deeply in a while, so it may be different these days, but that's as far as I know. Yeah, type the questions in the chat and we'll do our best to look and see them. Dan Bernard Media is helping us out today, trying to make sure that we don't miss too much. But you know, it's a live stream, so if I miss you, it's probably not personal. If it is personal, I'll let you know. I'll just be transparent and say, like, I'm not going to answer that because I don't like you. That would be mean. That's probably not going to happen. RAM prices are through the roof. That sucks. How to be a good editor in India? I don't know much about the Indian culture or how that works. I really don't. My guess is it's similar to being a good editor anywhere, which is typically edit a bunch of stuff together, shoot stuff with your phone and edit it together, get a lot of practice, and put together a example of your work. Once you have an example that you can show people, even if it's a 2-minute reel, then you can apply for jobs and just send them that reel. Tell them what you're into, what you like doing. It doesn't have to be terribly complicated. First time here, really into AMV. And I'm wondering what are the transitions they use and its name. What's AMV? American Music Videos? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. What are the transitions they use and its name? It's going to be something really obvious and they're like, what are you even thinking? Currently using the free version of Resolve, but I'm a filmmaker and considering upgrading to the studio version. Would you recommend it? Yes. Yes. You should absolutely do that. It's better. It runs slightly better is one thing, but then you get some really great like AI tools. You get, it's kind of depends on if you constantly run into something like the thing popping up and saying, hey, this is in the studio version, then you should definitely upgrade. But it's gonna like use your computer and run faster too. Studio version is a very good deal. I really recommend getting it. There's a lot of really great stuff with it. Is there a way to put clips on sync with music without studio version? What's the most efficient way? I have a video on syncing music video that's pretty recent. It says multicam, and you don't need studio to do that. It's free. You can sync up audio in the timeline for free, as far as I know, unless I'm a total idiot, which is very possible. Anime editors, AMV. Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with that, so I don't know. What settings should I use? Oh boy. To render a 4K video for YouTube, my 30 to 40 minute vlogs end up around 35 gigs, which feels too large. I edit on a PC, but my friend edits on Mac and gets 12 to 15 gigabyte files. It depends on the type of video you're making. So what I would do, I would say H.265 master, like this, and make your resolution UHD if it's not already. I would literally do that. That's going to be your best quality. Here's the thing. Your videos are going to be very big. Videos are going to be big. I wouldn't think, gosh, yeah, it might be 35 gigs. Might be. But I would do H.265 Ultra HD if you have the studio version. You should be able to export that. You might not be able to on the free version. You might have to do H.264, but even H.264 master resolution UHD, I would do that. There's a lot of really detailed things that we could get into, but that's the easiest way. That's going to look really, really good. And it's probably not going to be really, really big. But I mean, anymore, especially with 4K, dude, the videos are big. Know what I'm saying? Can Magic Mask be used in the free version of DaVinci Resolve? No. There might be some weird trick to do it, but I don't know of it. I'm sure it's jank. What's the best way to buy DV Studio? I tried the direct with PayPal twice and they just refund me. Oh boy, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think you could get it from the Blackmagic website. If it's not working, then I'm not sure why that is. M4 chip be good for Resolve? Yeah, for most editing, for a lot of it. If you're doing really high res stuff, or if you're doing a lot of fusion effects, you probably want more. You might want to get like a PC, but an M4 like Mac will probably work pretty darn well for a lot of stuff. What's the percentage of working editors that use DaVinci Resolve versus Premiere versus Final Cut Pro? Do you have any information on that? I don't have up-to-date information. I know it's more than it has been. I know there's still a lot of people. I would guess it's at least half use Premiere Pro these days. That's my guess. That said, it's going more towards DaVinci Resolve every day. And Final Cut Pro, yeah, it's maybe 20% or something. I don't know. That's my random guess. I could be wrong. Tell us about the Black Friday deals. Which one should I get if I watch the 2025 5-hour masterclass 10 times this week? You watched it 10 times this week? Why? Okay. I'll tell you. Real quick. So if you don't know, I have a company called Ground Control that I run with my buddy Dan and our buddy Sam and Andy. And our mission is to help you make amazing things. And so what we do is we make courses on DaVinci Resolve, and we have a bunch of courses that are available. We have a Fusion Basics course. We have Fusion Motion Graphics course, Fusion VFX course, kind of an advanced Fusion course. We have a course where you can make a entire film inside of Resolve. So it's the entire post-production workflow. We also just released a Fairlight course and a color grading course. So we have basically everything that you need to kind of dive in and get a little bit more detailed with DaVinci Resolve. And we have a Black Friday sale that is on right now. And all you have to do is go to groundcontrol.film, and or I think it's there's a link that Dan will put in the chat. And we have a massive Black Friday sale now. We're giving our courses away for way too cheap, honestly. It's way too cheap for the amount of value you get, and you get plugged into our community, which is our exclusive student community where we will review your work on a regular basis, and you can talk to other students and ask questions and everything. And it's popping, man. Like, our community is so great. And we've really, really tried really hard over the last 6 months to make our community amazing. And that's the number one thing we hear from our students now, is that the courses are really good. They're top quality. I think they're the best courses around, but the community is just fantastic. So anyways, there's links, and you can learn more about all that if you want to. Somebody asked. That's all I'm saying. Not here to sell you. Somebody asked. Got the studio version, and I'm thinking to get a video editor studio bundle. Is it worth it? Video editor studio bundle. Video editor studio bundle. I don't really know what that is, unless you're talking about our courses or something. Walter, tell me. Just download DaVinci Resolve, and his interface seems hard. The interface seems hard? Okay. Have you used other interfaces, Uzu? Have you used other software? A lot of YouTube video tutorials on color grading and DaVinci in general. What's the best way to learn for a beginner? The best way is to get our course, honestly. I'm not just trying to sell you. That is designed to take you from, I have no freaking clue how to color grade, to I can color grade any video. That's what it's for. So that's the best way. I also have some free videos that kind of show you the basics of it. And if you're really motivated and you want to practice and you have stuff to practice on, you could probably watch those videos and get started pretty well. So I would do that. But I have how to start color grading for total beginners, I think, is a video that was pretty recent. Best motion VFX plugins to get for shorts, podcast, and clips, affiliate link. I haven't looked at them for a little bit, so I can't tell you what the very best things are, and I don't have an affiliate link right now. But everything I've used from them is amazing. So I would go and check out their website and see what you like. All right. I'll try and catch up here. There's quite a few little questions. If something is a little more complicated, I might skip it or I might come back to it. Just so you know, I'm going to try and get like the quick questions out of the way. How do you adjust the frame indication ruler under the image so as not to have negative numbers? I want to be able to start from 0 on the left and continue onward on the right. So in Fusion. Okay, so check this out. So in Fusion, they're asking this ruler. I'll move my thing. This ruler right here sometimes is like at like 0 is here. And that's because you have a clip that might have like a time code that's different or whatever. What you can do is you can use this little gray zoom thing and kind of zoom in to the section that you want. So like I'm starting at frame 79. So you can kind of do it that way. That's what I would do. There isn't a way to adjust the actual range of it without putting the clip into the timeline and trimming the clip. But this way you can zoom it. Hopefully that helps. However, so like I said, I'm not here to just like tell you to buy our courses. If you guys want me to go over a specific thing about like color grading or something like that, let me know. Or like a concept. We can kind of dive into a concept too. I'm not going to hold anything back or anything. But I do want to make sure it's like something that more than just one person wants to go into. You know what I mean? I've completed all the editing lessons from their course, but I'm not sure how to find editing jobs. Could you please give me some guidance? I think the best way is to start asking around and to make a reel. And if you have a reel that you can send to people, then you can start posting on Craigslist. You can post on any kind of job site, I guess. But you have to have some kind of reel. You have to have something to show somebody because that's how you're going to get the job. Does that make sense? As far as actually like physically going out and finding that, I'm not sure how to do that these days because I haven't had to do it for a little bit, which I'm thankful for. But I know if I were hiring somebody, I would be looking for a reel. How does YouTube handle higher quality video, say 30 gigs versus YouTube versus the preset? Is the visible output viewed on YouTube about the same? It depends. It depends. I've done a bunch of tests on this, but it was like a few years ago. And so they might have changed things, but last time I tested this, it did matter. But the big thing that matters is that how YouTube compresses 4K is different than how it compresses 1080. And so even taking a 1080p video and blowing it up to 4K, which doesn't make any sense because it doesn't make it look better, but uploading that to YouTube uses a better compression when YouTube compresses it. And so it ends up looking better, even though the video doesn't look better when you upload it. Can I learn DaVinci Resolve with a MacBook Air M1 8 gig? What about Fusion? I recently bought that laptop and I'm a new beginner. Yes, you can absolutely use that. It's going to, I have that exact laptop, but it's going to have a little trouble with Fusion once you get into bigger stuff. If you're trying to edit 4K, that kind of stuff, it's going to be a little chunky. But for the most part, especially just like editing and doing basic color grading and stuff, it's going to be fine. Any tips on 3D color, 3D keyer in the color panel? I need to apply the same key to many clips and tweak it in a central spot. Are shared nodes the way? I would probably not do that in the color page. I would probably do it just in the edit page. I'd probably just do the 3D keyer here. So I don't have any green screen, but when you do that, Boop a doop a doop a doo. Effects. When you do this, you can copy and paste this effect by pasting attributes. So if I had, I'll just split this so that we can actually see it working here. So here I have it keying this one, and I don't have it keying this one. I can Control C, copy this, and then go to this second one and like Control V, oops, and Alt V, and select plugins like this and hit apply, and that's going to apply the plugin. You might be able. I wonder if you can do that with a adjustment layer. I don't know. But I would probably be doing that in the edit page if you aren't going to do it in the Fusion page, because doing it in the color page is, I don't know if you'd need to do that. It's not going to be any better. It's going to be more annoying, I would think. Okay. I downloaded DaVinci Resolve and it was really hard to understand. So what should I do? Cuts, edit, Fusion, or color grading? I'm not sure what that. What do you mean? What should you do? What? Okay, Uzu, let me ask you this. What kind of videos do you want to make? What was the point of downloading Resolve? What kind of projects do you want to work on? Let's start with that. I feel like I should invite you, Isaac, and Gwen over for Thanksgiving. I've spent so much time with you this week. That's awesome, K9. I love that. What do I recommend after finishing the 5-hour beginner tutorial? So what I would recommend is one of two things. If you want more like learning, if you want to dive deeper into like a course-like thing, I think you should probably get either Color Grading 101. That's a pretty good next step, or make a film. Make a film would be really good. Make a film course. That'd be great. Because it's like the big boy version of that 5-hour video. I would really recommend that. If you're strapped for cash or you don't want to buy a course, I would go out and shoot something with your phone or your video or your camera or whatever, bring it into Resolve and try and edit it. The more times you do that, I know it sounds stupid, but like if you go and do a video about your cat, you take videos of your cat, you bring it into Resolve and you go through the entire edit workflow. If you can do that 100 times, you're going to be such a good editor. Seriously. So good. Okay. All right. Because I don't want people to be waiting forever for answers, I'm going to have Dan kind of grab the questions that are going to be really helpful. And so I'm going to kind of start going with that just so I aren't like 20 minutes behind. Okay. Is there a way to create, State of Colors asks, is there a way to create macros in the color page like in Fusion? If you mean like a preset that you can reuse, then yes. But not like a customizable interface kind of thing. The closest thing to that would be like a, what's that thing called? The color nerds know it. It's that thing. But that's much more complicated than making a macro. So, I mean, what you can do in the color page is if you like a grade, like let's say, I don't know, let's say we like this grade, right? Great. You can right click and say grab still, boop. And that's going to save to your gallery. And you can save and reuse that on other shots. You can also save this to your power grades, which is a collection of presets that you can apply to things that lives in your library. And so even if you open up a different project, you can apply that to different shots and different projects. So that's really nice. One thing that we've actually done recently is we have this thing called Power Looks, which is it's a collection of color grades that are presets like this. And so it works sort of like a LUT, but it's a preset for resolve. And so you can kind of do that. It's not quite the same as a macro, but it is a drag and drop kind of functionality. And these you can open up and adjust different parts of it if you want to. It's a saved color grade, basically. So yeah, we have a pack of these, which I believe you can buy as a add-on to the Color 101 course at the moment. And I think we're going to sell them separately at some point too, but we haven't done that yet. So how can I edit multicam that contains drone footage and camera footage? How can you edit a multicam? Well, the big thing about that is you would need to sync up your shots. And so you would need to be able to have some kind of sync point for your multicam. So let me just kind of mock this up for you. Like, let's say this isn't gonna make any sense, but let's say you have your drone shot. This is your yellow one is your drone shot, and this one is your regular camera. You'd have to have some way to figure out how to line these up in time. So whether it's a clapboard or somebody, you know, clapping their hands or something like that, you would need to sync those up like this, and then put that in a multicam sequence. And then you can use that as a multicam stuff. You can also just put these together, put these clips together in a multicam. So like, let's just grab two of these. This isn't going to actually work, but if they are clips that sync, you can right click and say new multicam using selected clips like this. And if they both have an audio track, it's really nice because it will automatically sync them up. So you could just sync this to sound like this and hit create. These don't have sound that will sync, and so it's not actually going to work. But you can right click and open this multicam in the timeline, and look what we have here. We have two shots. It'll throw them in the timeline, and then you can manually sync them up however you want, even if they don't automatically sync up. Great. Once you have that, then you can make a new timeline. Let's say, let's just right click and say create new timeline using this multicam. And what's cool is I can switch this. If I close my inspector, turn on my two things here, I can switch this to multicam. And as I play this back, I can switch the angles like a multicam edit. Isn't that cool? So you don't actually even need to have them automatically sync or anything. You can kind of do that yourself. Hey guys, thank you so much for the super chats. You guys are amazing. Tyler, Danny, appreciate that. Somebody was earlier too. Yes, Tony Soprano, thank you. You guys are amazing. You don't need to do that. This is free. There's no charge for awesomeness. Could you demonstrate how to create an OBS transition stinger or effect alert in DaVinci Resolve if at all possible? Well, let's see. The only thing that I'm not sure of right off the cuff here, which I would bet even Tyler could tell you how to do this, is I'm not familiar with the latest and greatest way to render that and put that into OBS, because there's been some new codecs that are really great for that. I don't even know if they're new codecs. They're just codecs I don't use that often. But basically how you would do something like that is you would, you could make like a, let's just go to effects and make a fusion composition, right? So you can make a fusion composition, and let's say it's like a lower third or something, some little pop-up notification or something. And so let's say, you know, new subscriber. All right. Boop. Whatever you want to do, you can make it here in Fusion, right? And so let's just, hey, look at that. Okay, we can pop that in and animate it and everything. And so let's just animate that with a transform node. Boop. And we'll throw that this way. So now we have this new subscriber animation. We can take this background, take this alpha down like that. Oh, baby. Yeah. Stick with QuickTime Container, GoPro Cineform encoder for the transparency. Great. Okay. So yeah, we have that. That's great. Make the animation however you want. Okay. Then you go down to deliver. And we're going to go QuickTime, GoPro Cineform. And we could do doopy-doopy-doo. Yeah, we'd have to go RGB 16-bit export alpha like that. And you should be able to export that and then bring it into OBS. I believe there's other codecs to use on that too that are a little bit lighter weight, because this is going to make a pretty decently sized file. But I think there's like, what is that codec? I'm trying to remember. Or something crazy, like some kind of web codec that people like. Ooh, is it WebM? Is that what it is? I think it's WebM. Some kind of WebM codec. It might be WebM. I don't know. Oh boy, nerdy. So yeah, it would be something like that. That's pretty much how you would do it. It's very important that your base video layer has a dedicated transparency layer. Just rendering over a blank timeline won't transfer the alpha. Oh, really? Like this won't? It's like, even though this is an alpha here, that won't work with this transparency? Are you sure? Because that seems dumb. I mean, I'll believe you. Convert to WebM and shutter encoder. Sure, there you go. That will, because the background's set to alpha. Okay. Okay, great, cool, yay. Because I was gonna say that's some junk if that doesn't work. My question is, what do you think is something they're still missing that they should add to Resolve? Ooh, what's the biggest thing they still need to add? Well, what do they need to add? That's an interesting question. What do you guys think they need to add? Put them in the chats. Put some in the chats. Here we go. Full screen timeline. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I think there's a lot of improvements to be made with Fusion. Like being able to look at this full screen would be great. I keep telling them it would be great to be able to have a hotkey to full screen any of these panels in Fusion. Even if you hold one down, like if I hold down Control or something, I can see this full screen, you know, and then like, I don't know, some other quick hotkey to see the nodes full screen. I think that'd be amazing. I might be the only person that wants that. Ooh, puppet pin tool that actually works. That would be amazing. That would be really great. Because they have one that sort of works, but it's not the same. In Fusion, how can you change the duration of a Fusion composition? You have to have it in the timeline. I get why they do it, but it's not that intuitive. That if I have this clip in the timeline, so this is 120 frames, and there's no way within Fusion to change this to be shorter or longer. You have to go into the timeline and change this to be shorter or longer. That's the only way to do it. Then in Fusion, it will bring it down here. Now, it's going to look like you just moved your work area, but it's different than that. You can also move your work area, but it doesn't trim the length of the composition all it does is basically trims what you're looking at right now. It's like the part you're focusing on, but it doesn't actually trim it. Multicam, how do you use it? We have a video on multicam that I think you should watch. It came out a couple, like 3 or 4 weeks ago maybe, and it's about like multicam music videos. That's the best one. I would highly recommend watching that if you're looking into multicam. Save per node presets in the curves in DaVinci Color page, like curves in Fusion or the HDR. Oh, like curve presets. Yeah, you would have to save like the node for color. Just built the 3D chess set from your tutorial. Hey, thanks, John. That's cool. Do you have any video on song color grading? So like color grading like a music video or something? All right. Hey, you're truly a gem. Hey, thank you. That's cool. That's cool. Did I ever finish the starters tutorial? Which one? What do you mean? Second cup of tea. Good job, Sarah. I love that. I want to start creating, but I'm camera shy and always think about what others think about me when I do that. What a great question. So if you want to start creating, what do you want to make? First of all, Rev Visions, I would love to hear what you're interested in. If you're camera shy, you could, depending on the kind of video you want to make, you could possibly do it like with just your hands. If it's like creating something with hands, or if it's software video, you can just show the software. Yeah, I mean, so there's ways to do it without just like being on camera. You can just do a voiceover and show like visuals. Anymore, like you could probably get on ChatGPT and just have it like, or Artlist or some place that can create like AI art, and tell it to make like some kind of explainer art for whatever you're explaining, whatever you're talking about. Or you can use stock footage and just use your voiceover. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of different ways to do that. Tutorials talking about DaVinci and behind the scenes at football games. I film and edit. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're doing tutorials, you don't have to show your face. I didn't show my face in tutorials for quite a while. Yeah, it's no big deal. Did I ever finish the Star Wars tutorial? I feel like the Star Wars tutorial is relatively finished. I don't know if there was a different part. I might have said, oh, we might get into this or something, but I don't remember if there was something else. If there's something specific you're after, let me know. So color grading a music video, it's gonna be the same thing as color grading anything. So like making color grading content is funny because yes, there are different things that you might do depending on the kind of project it is, but it's less about whether it's a music video or not and more about what the feeling of a music video is. Because like all music videos aren't going to be color graded the same, right? If I say color grading a music video, really the reason why that would be interesting is just color grading for that feeling or dealing with the problems that a music video creates. But creatively, it's not necessarily different than like a documentary or a narrative film. Does that make sense? So I do have quite a few how to color grade various videos, and it would be very similar. Of course, we could do like a what's it called? A case study on doing that. But the process is the same. If you guys want to, you could put a 1 in chat or something if you want to kind of go through some color grading stuff, because I know that a lot of people have trouble with that. And that's the reason why a lot of people want to learn Resolve, is because, hey, something, it's good at color grading. So if you want me to go into something like that, put a 1 in chat. And then if you could also just say some specific part that you'd like to learn, and we can go into that if you want to. If we have a lot of people that want to a little bit more color grading stuff, or if you want to ask questions live, that's cool. If you have 32 gig RAM, RTX 3080, should editing like 4K 60 FPS tracks be slow and basically unable to play? Yeah. I would definitely expect that. Yes. I mean, it's 60 frames a second at 4K. Like, that's a lot. And especially if it's like if they're ProRes files and you have a really, really fast storage, it might be okay. But if it's like drone footage or like something that's really compressed, like H.265 footage, then yeah, I would definitely expect it to chunk. I'd recommend working with proxies. My knowledge in DaVinci is pretty basic. All I know I learned from you. I want to make some vertical videos from my horizontal ones, but I struggle. Can I do that without buying the studio version? Yeah, you can totally do that without buying the studio version. Yep. Really, it's about making a different sized timeline, like a canvas, and then just moving it and just reframing it. There are like automatic ways to do that in the paid version of Resolve, and they're good, but you don't need them. I've very rarely used those kind of things. Okay. Can you apply a color grade to a bin, preferably a smart bin, so it affects everything? No. That would be great. Thanks for the question, Matt. Is there a way to modify the keyframes, like move them with nodes or expressions? The closest thing to that with would be like if you have, well, you can do like a keyframe stretcher. I'd recommend looking into some of the videos that Patrick has made and that Mr. Alex Tech has made, because they kind of go over the keyframe stretcher and that kind of thing, because that's the closest thing to what you're talking about, MRT. MRLJCC says, how do I install Fusion macro in DaVinci Resolve? There are quite a few guides online on that, but basically if it's a DRFX file, you just double click the DRFX and it will install. If it's not, then you have to take that .settings file and you drop it in a certain folder, and you can find that folder. You can find that folder in the Fusion page under Effects, under Templates. You can go to these 3 dots and say Show Folder, and you can drag them into this folder, and that should work for Fusion. And then inside of Edit, you can drag it into Edit. It needs to be, you might need to put it in a certain folder. I would Google what folder you need, because sometimes it changes a little bit and sometimes it's different from between Mac and PC. So giving you the exact thing is more difficult than it should be. Sarah asked, when I use the normalize audio levels option in the YouTube preset after selecting all the audio clips in the same track, some clips end up way louder than others. Am I missing something? How you're normalizing it is important. The whether you're choosing peak level versus something else, versus like loudness, is going to make a difference. So if you have something like that's more high pitched, it's going to sound louder even though the peak is at the same level. So that might be what's going on. That's my guess, Sarah. Okay. Okay. 5-hour course and YouTube's the best one. Thanks. Appreciate that. There's a whole section of the Star Wars video that I sort of skipped over. What section was that? Oh, you already said it later. Do you know if Resolve Studio gets any Black Friday discounts? I haven't heard of any, but sometimes they do. Okay. Thanks so much for that super chat. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. Do I use DaVinci Wide Gamut as you suggested if you're editing and grading ARRI ProRes log footage? Yeah, I would, for sure. Guys, if you have questions about like hardware recommendations and stuff, that's stuff you guys can Google. So let's probably keep it more to like interactive questions and stuff, because that kind of stuff, yeah, I mean, I would do some Googling on that, because they do list the minimum specs for Resolve. But in my opinion, like, you just got to get the biggest, baddest thing you can get. That's what I would get. The later M2, M3, M4s are pretty good unless you're doing hardcore compositing, 3D, particles, that kind of stuff. Does buying presets, is it really worth it? It depends on the preset. Depends on what you want to spend your time doing. I don't typically buy presets for things that I know a lot about. I very rarely use presets on things, but I'm the kind of person that likes to jump in and figure out all the details. And so if you're that kind of person, maybe not. But if you're somebody that just, like, if you're trying to get videos done, let's say, and you're just trying to like get videos done as quick as possible, and you don't feel like learning how to develop looks for color grading, getting like color grading look presets, that's probably a good move, right? If you want graphics that look nice and you don't want to learn to make your own graphics, yeah, graphics presets, probably a good move. But I probably wouldn't get some if you're really into making your own graphics and like you're really excited to make your own custom stuff, because you're going to look at it and go, I'd rather make my own custom stuff, you know? Yeah. Question about the workspace. Is it possible to save your workspace layout and import it into different or new computer? Similar things like customizable settings, can they be exported or imported? There are some settings that you can import and export, I believe, but like not really a layout. That's the thing with Resolve, is the layout isn't really that customizable, which is a good and bad thing, right? So it's bad if you really want a very, very custom layout. But honestly, like the inspector only goes on the right, you know? And what's good about that is you can't lose panels. You can't get lost. Like if you watch a tutorial, odds are it's in the exact same place as on your system. And I actually like it. I actually like it like that, because with other programs that I've used where you have those customizable panels, it's cool because you can customize it, but then I also spend a lot of time trying to figure out why the heck, where did this freaking panel go? Like, and it's, you know, 2 layers deep under some other weird panel. And I'm just like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Can Resolve convert H.265 to H.264 videos? Yes. You might need the paid version for that. I don't remember if it will read H.265. I think you need the paid version. They might have updated it. Okay. All of my audio is just me talking, so there shouldn't be any huge change, but I'll take a look at the settings, see if I can figure it out. I would recommend that you watch Sam's video that we just put out. It was like 3 or 4 weeks ago about like how to make your audio good. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's on my channel. And our audio genius, our resident audio genius, Sam, did a whole video on like the basics of making your audio good, Sarah. So I would really, I would start there. Could you please suggest the best website for best DaVinci Resolve paid plugins? Which website you prefer for most plugins and other stuff? So none of this is sponsored. My honest opinion is everybody who uses Resolve should get Magic Animate by Mr. Alex Tech. You should get that. It's amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. There's also Magic Zoom, which is quite good. But Magic Animate's amazing. Anything that Mr. Alex Tech makes is great because that guy just puts tons and tons of work into it. Anything that Jake Whip makes is amazing. If you're going to go with graphics and like titles and stuff, Jake Whip stuff is really, really good. Yeah, I've used Motion VFX. Everything I've used from them is really, really good. So I would start there. The other paid plugin that I heartily recommend is a noise reduction plugin called Neat Video. Neat Video Reduce Noise, I think is what it's called. Fantastic. The best noise reduction plugin. So good, so easy. The AI features are only available in Studio. Yes, that's right. Yep. You know how people go real estate and do real estate in DaVinci? I've always wondered if you can click something in the room to take you to another room, or is that we have to pay for? I mean, you can't do interactive stuff in DaVinci. All it does is video. So to do that kind of thing, it would have to be a different app or web app or something. Yep. H.265 8-bit is for free version, 10-bit is for studio. Okay, there you go. You know all those crazy viral edits done on TikTok? Can I do the same on Resolve? And how do we do that? Maybe if you have some resources. I mean, yes, you can totally do all of that stuff in Resolve. It's a lot of work. Those kind of things take a lot of work and time. I don't do a lot of that kind of stuff myself. So, I mean, anything that I would show you would be, I mean, it would take way longer than I have to show you. It's like work on this for, 2 weeks. It's that kind of thing. There are like, okay, so like an app like, what's that one that TikTok makes? That one, CapCut, does have some like quicker ways to do certain things that Resolve isn't quite optimized for, because it's Resolve is like a professional app that can do that stuff. Whereas something like CapCut is an app that's made to do that stuff, And so it kind of depends on what you're looking for. In big movies I've seen, they use one camera for conversations. How do they sync it when it's 2 different recordings? Oh, so like for a narrative film, they have one person talking and then they set up the other person talking and then they cut those together. Yeah, I mean, it's each actor follows the script Sometimes they're working and talking to another actor, and their responses are cut back and forth in the edit. You can also do multicam. However, that's not necessarily all the time. Is this thing junkin'? Are we okay? Seems like we're okay. I know, like, for our movies, what we do is we have one angle, and the thing is, like, you can set it up with multicam, but there's some reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. Is one is you have to set your lighting a certain way, and that's the main reason why we don't do it, is because we would have to light a whole bunch more stuff, and sometimes we just don't have that many lights. But we'd light one angle and make it look really nice, and shoot that angle, and then switch the lighting and shoot the other angle of the conversation those people are having, and then you just cut them together in post, and you take the responses from one person and intercut it with the responses from the other person. It looks like they're talking. You know what I mean? Saw the motion graphics tutorial you did, about to watch it through. Awesome. Yay. It's not a matter of can it be done in Resolve, but rather can I learn how to do this stuff in Resolve? Yep. Did it change from 295 to 300 plus? Maybe. I haven't checked for a while. Is there a Resolve full course that teaches everything? When you say everything, do you mean like literally every part of Resolve super deep in every aspect of Resolve? Or do you mean like how to do everything for a certain project or something? Because I have a rant to go on if you want. Is Fusion only available in the paid version now? No. When I click the Fusion tab, you've reached a limit message. I wonder if you have like a title or effect or something on in the Fusion page that is giving you that, but because Fusion's in the free version for sure. Yep. Yeah, we'll repost this after it's done, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. A super deep tutorial on everything. So, I don't know of one. There might be something that somebody has done. I don't know of one that's recent, that I'm familiar with, that somebody's gone through every single panel of Resolve. There's probably ones that are like Resolve 18 or something like that, Resolve 17, that are a couple years old. There's probably something on Udemy or something like that. And you're welcome to look into that. You know, it's like a 17-hour course or something that goes through all the details of Resolve. And that might be exactly what you want. The advice I would give you is that you don't need to know every single little part of Resolve. You only need to know what you need to know to make the stuff you want to make. Or else, really, you're just learning details of stuff you'll never use. And there's a lot of stuff in Resolve that you'll never use, just because there are so many tools for such a wide variety of applications that you're just never going to need them all. You know what I mean? And so depending on what you're working on, what you want to make, I would recommend checking out different assets, different resources for that. For instance, we have a course called Make a Film, which goes through the entire process from here's a bunch of footage to I have a finished thing that I can render. It goes through color grading, goes through compositing effects and all of that stuff for a short film. And that will give you a really, really good understanding of how Resolve works as a whole. It's a great thing to watch after the 5-hour free tutorial that I have on there on YouTube. I would definitely recommend that. But then, like, if you want to get the most detailed and up-to-date stuff, that's why we have a combo pack of our Fusion course color course, and our Fairlight course, because those are the 3 parts of Resolve that are really detailed that you would need a deep dive into. And so if you get Make a Film and those 3 courses, Black Friday, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, that's like what? 30 hours of course material. So, yeah. Is there any way to do auto sync of 2 cameras that have multiple clips and put them only in 2 tracks and not in multiple tracks like in Syncalia? I think it's going to put in multiple tracks anything inside of Resolve. If you're talking about something like Pluralize or something, it's just there, that doesn't exist in Resolve at the moment. You would have to use a separate app. Yep. So there you go. Man, I got through some questions. If you feel like I skipped your question, or if I haven't fully, maybe I didn't see it or something, feel free to repost. Just don't repost it a bunch of times. But you can repost it after a few minutes if I really haven't gotten to it. It's okay. We were talking about doing kind of a deep dive on a color workflow. Are you guys down for that? Or you want to do something else? Let me know. Let me know, let me know. Put it in the chat. I need to get a beverage. I'll let you guys respond and I'll get a beverage just a minute. Hi, Shane. Don't worry, guys. I found some sparkling water. Sparkling. That's right, Spindrift. That's right. Spindrift. If you want unsweetened water, proudly made the hard way with real squeezed fruit since 2010, then go ahead and drink Spindrift. That'll be $1 million, Spindrift. I don't know. They don't know me. Planning to purchase a studio version. I was wondering if I'd find a promo code for some discount. I don't know of one. That'd be cool though. I don't have one. I don't know how to get one. How to replace a photo on the background wall with another photo being behind an actor while the camera is panning and zooming. Ooh, that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. Let me see if I have something that would work for that. That we could do a little bit of. All these shots are not moving, which is too bad. But hey, I can fake it. Let's fake it real quick. Boop. Let's add a little camera shake here. Add a little bit of camera shake, maybe a little bit of zoom in. Okay. I'm just gonna mock this up here. I'm gonna mock it up. Okay. Pretend you didn't see all of that. This is just normal footage. Everything is fine. It's normal. Sorry to repeat, is there a course that shows how to make infinitely loopable background motion graphics for things like scene backgrounds, etc.? Last frame smoothly transitions back to first frame. I don't know of one. We don't go over that in our courses. There's a few ways that you could do that. If we have time, maybe we'll get into that here. Okay, so we're talking about replacing a picture frame or something in the background. So basically how this would work is you would need the picture frame that you want to replace. And I'm just going to kind of put something over this window because it's the exact same kind of thing. What you would need to do is track the motion from this and then put the picture frame there and then have it kind of follow the motion. Okay. So for instance, like, let's just make a picture frame here. Let's just make something fun, shall we? Let's make a little fun thing. Here's our picture frame. All right, cool. And we're just gonna make a frame like this. Okay, boop, boop, invert. Okay, there's our picture frame. Amazing, right? So I'm gonna call this, group this and make this normal picture frame. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. So we have two things here in Fusion. We have our normal picture frame and our footage. And really it's a matter of putting our picture frame over the footage. And we can kind of rough this in with a transform node. Shloop. We'll just put this in here roughly. Okay. But this footage, the problem is when we play this back, it's going to slip and slide and it's not going to be exactly how we want it to be. So what we need to do is track the motion from this footage. All right. So if we have this footage that's moving, I like to use something called a planar tracker. I'm just hitting Shift Spacebar to bring that up. Planar tracker. And I'm just going to select the part that we want to replace. Ideally, it's going to have a lot of contrast and a lot of things that a tracker can grab onto. And I'm going to hit set. I'm going to take this motion type and probably just do translation, rotation scale like this. Set our reference time, track this forward. Go to our reference time, track it backward. And that's going to track that motion. Okay. I can click on this Create Planar Transform button. And that's going to make a planar transform node here. I can hold Shift and drag this in like this. Then let's look at this media out. And this should, if it's not going to be crazy, that should track that to stick perfectly to that shot. The only thing that we need to do now is adjust the perspective of this, which you can do a lot of ways. One way you could do would be, I could just take this transform off and do like a corner positioner. And I can just put the corners where they're supposed to be. Let's say it's going to replace this window-ish kind of thing. Let's just put that there. And then this should, if the track worked, yeah, do a pretty good job of just kind of sticking that to the background. All right. So it's kind of like you're pasting the new one over it and you're tracking it. You're matching that movement so that it doesn't stick out. And then it's a matter of doing things like color correcting this, maybe adding some blur. See how it's kind of blurry back here, but this isn't blurry. So we could do something like add a little bit of blur to this. Just add a little bit of blur so that it doesn't stick out weird. That kind of thing. Does that make sense? That's the kind of magic cool stuff you can do in Fusion, which is really fun. Switch back to the edit page, and now we have our finished thing. Isn't that cool? Yeah. That makes sense? Fusion question, is there a smart way to reload all loaders when your source media changes? The use case is 3D compositing where you're constantly re-rendering stuff. To do them all at once? I'm trying to think of how you would do that all at once. You might be able to just like restart Resolve. That might be the quickest way, honestly. Because I think you'd have to go through and actually replace or reload each one. Pretty sure. Just want to say thank you. I learned a lot from your courses. Thank you, Sebastian. That's awesome. Can you link all these in the description when you finish all the videos unless they're stupid easy to find? They should be pretty easy to find if you go to the videos on my channel. A lot of the videos we're talking about are pretty recent. They should be within like the last 20 videos. Shouldn't be too bad. Yep. How to stay motivated. Boy, how to stay motivated. What's your advice, everybody? Go ahead and put it in the chat. How do you stay motivated? I think a big part of there's two sides to this, right? So there's motivation in the sense that like you feel like you want to do something. You aren't always going to feel like you want to do stuff, even stuff that's fun. Even stuff that's fun. It's just you're not always going to feel like doing it. And so for me, I think it's understanding why you're doing it, right? Like I don't necessarily want to go into like our course platform and like update a whole bunch of annoying settings, right? I don't want to do that. But I do want people to be able to easily get to the information. And so I think focusing on that is better rather than like, all right, I got to go do this thing that I hate. It's like, man, something I've been saying to myself lately, because I've found myself like a little bit anxious lately. And something I've been saying to myself is like, okay, I'm excited for the result. I'm excited to do something that is better, or, you know, I'm excited to learn this. I'm excited to figure out this problem, right? And that helps me a lot. So I would go with that. But I think there's kind of this idea that if we don't totally love what we're doing 24/7, that it's like the wrong thing. And that's like saying, oh, well, if I don't completely get along with my family all the time, that it's the wrong family. That's not true. Nobody's perfect. No situation is perfect, right? Trader Nation, welcome. Glad you're here. Have you used the remix tool for music to make correct time or made manual? Yes. Yes, we've used that. Dan uses that quite a bit. I haven't used it that much, but Dan was just talking about yesterday how much he liked that tool. That's the things we talk about around here. That's the exciting stuff. Like, oh, have you seen how you can adjust the the duration of a clip? Wow. Nerds. Such nerds. For me, just surviving, making money, be able to live. Otherwise, best motivation is when people compliment your work. I work with football teams so the players get hyped. Nice. Even though I didn't really like the outcome. That's cool. I only make edits, but it definitely gives me a lot of joy when I see even a minuscule improvement between one project and the other and the next. Yeah. Yes, that's so cool. Took the fear I had for Fusion away. Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's cool. What's the tool? Are you talking about? Oh, what's the pen? The one to extend the clip? I think I forget what it's called. Dan, will you tell them what it's called? What's the pen that you use for showing your cursor? So this is a utility for Windows called Zoom It, which is, works most of the time, but it lets you draw on the screen, and I have a drawing tablet, which is how I do everything anyway. So it's really convenient. But I have a hotkey that switches to pen mode, and then I can do stuff like hold shift and make a line, or hold Control and make a box. And then I can get out of that by hitting Escape. So yeah, Zoom It's cool. It's free. It works most of the time. It's buggy too, but it's still the best tool that I've used. I skipped the question about 360 footage. Can you repost it real quick? How do I monetize this skill? What is your take? The skill of editing, because you were asking about like editing TikTok stuff, right? I would be really surprised if you can't find, if you're decent at editing, if you have your skills up, I'd be pretty surprised if you can't find some work doing some edit for somebody, because with all the media that's being made these days, there's so much editing needed. A lot of editing needed. So, I mean, the quickest way would be to, I think, start looking for jobs. I mean, I know that's a really boring way to say it, but like, I would think you'd be able to find something. Other than that, I mean, you could do like the content creator route and start working on that. But I mean, it's a lot better to find a company that's doing really well and needs an editor, because that's going to be a lot. You're going to get money faster and it's going to be more reliable. So I would recommend going that way. Yeah. The drawing tablet is a Huion Canvas 24, I think. That's what it's called, a 4K 24. I got it on a Black Friday a couple years ago. They probably have a great deal now. You should probably get it in the next week or so. That'd be good. Manzor says, I love watching your video. They're so informative. I wanted to ask if you could elaborate on why you think node-based effects like Fusion are superior to layer-based like in Adobe. It really depends on what you're into. That's the bottom line. Actually, I just deleted that, but I don't want to. What I like about nodes, there's a couple things that I really like. One is that it's really easy to be able to just look at one part of your composition, right? So I can easily just look at this picture frame, or I can easily just look at the footage without the picture frame, or easily look at it after the tracker, or after this corner positioner, or after the planar transformer, after the blur, right? You can easily look at any little part. I like that a lot. The other thing with nodes is you have a map. You have a map of all of these things that you've done to your image, right? You have the start, and then it just goes through a flow chart, right? Then I tracked it. Then I took a picture frame and I changed its corner position. I applied some tracking to it. I blurred it, and then I put it over this normal footage. Then I rendered it out, right? That kind of thing, when you have a layer stack, you have no freaking clue what you did. Like, to figure out this, I would have to dive into quite a few layers, and it would take a few minutes to really understand everything that had been done to this image, right? Like, I remember I was freelance After Effects for quite a while, and I would get somebody's After Effects project and I open it up, and it took me, I mean, it took a long time, a substantial amount of time to just figure out what the heck they did, where they, what effects they used on things. This, it's like, oh, well, here's the map. There's nothing hidden, really. So that's really, really nice. I think those are the big things. The other thing that's really great is you can reuse nodes. And I think After Effects, like, you can reuse mats now, which is really helpful and probably should have been there from the beginning. But, you know, if you have something like, you know, some text or a mat of some kind, you have this text like this, you can use this both as an image, but you could also use it as a mask. Look, boop, using it as a mask. I could, this is tricky because of how I have this set up, but you could use this as a mask for the whole image, right? And like this kind of thing, you could use this for multiple stuff. You could put text over that, right? You could, it's all modular. That's the thing that I like, is you can reuse stuff and do it in a modular way. And if you don't want this part, you just get rid of it, right? Instead of having to delete layers and go through, like, to do something really basic with nodes is slightly more complicated than doing it with layers. To do something even like level 1 complicated with nodes versus layers is easier. Like it immediately starts getting easier after like 2 or 3 layers. That's the thing. That's the thing. So I hope that's helpful. I know nodes are intimidating because it looks like a big spaghetti party where layers do kind of make sense because there's like a physical kind of metaphor there. But honestly, like one of the best things I ever did was learn nodes because, I mean, you can go so much faster for something that's a little more complicated. That's the thing. And I feel like a lot of people judge it on, they're like, dude, it takes 3 nodes to just put one image over another image. And yeah, that's true. It does. But it takes 2 layers and you still have to put the layer on top. It's just the on top thing is a node here, which you can turn off and on and adjust the, you have a lot more control over it. That's all. That's all. Anyway, I hope that helps and answers your question a little bit. Tumblebee asks, what are your thoughts on buying transitions / effects versus making them yourself? I'm only doing the latter myself at the moment as I want to learn, but there are beautiful things out there I can definitely can't create. I mean, it's always a question, time versus money, right? Do you have more time or more money? That's what it comes down to. If you have lots of time and no money, make it yourself. If you have a budget, some money, and not a lot of time, that's where buying things is your friend. Or can be if they're made well and if it fits with your style, because you could easily get a preset that might be really annoying to use. And I've definitely had that happen. So if they're made well, it can be a real time saver. There's no reason not to use them. But it's good. It's a good idea to understand how it works when you have the time, because then even if you get a preset, you might be able to go in and tweak it. It's pretty helpful. I use Premiere Pro Productions for our in-house post-production. We're considering switching to Resolve. Does Resolve offer something equivalent to Productions so we can manage 30 episodes efficiently? I don't know if I'm familiar with that. Is that like a project management kind of thing? Oh, so it's like sharing assets between projects, that kind of thing. Multi-project kind of stuff. I mean, there's the Blackmagic Cloud, which is very similar. I don't know if it does all the exact same things, but there's certainly ways you can do it with Blackmagic Cloud. Yeah. How can we create shortcut keys for Fusion? You can, in like, if you go up to DaVinci Resolve keyboard customization, there's things that you can use for Fusion, right? So like, there's all kinds of things you can do with those. So yeah, it's in here. Find using underlays for organizing nodes is super helpful. Totally agree. Yep. Learn the basics from your video. Thank you so much. Hey, That's awesome. Thanks. If I win the lottery, I would pay you to spend a month with you, Mr. Alex Tech and Jamie Fenn. Oh, yeah. Me too. Me too. Started studying Resolve a couple days ago. It's a crazy program, especially when working on an iPad. How good is it for learning, or is it better on a laptop? Definitely get a laptop. 100%. Yeah, Team 2 Films has good videos on Blackmagic Cloud for sure. Power bins, yeah. And you have shared projects too, which their collaborative project stuff in Resolve is really, really good. Yeah. How to sync the audio, which is separate whole file to sync with many different clips, which are random. It's kind of annoying in Resolve to do that. I'm trying to think if it still does that. I think it has to do one clip with another. Is that right? No, I don't think that's right. I think that what you can do is you can put a clip like down here that has audio, and then have a clip here, and you'll have to just test it out. I'm pretty sure that if you select this clip first and then this clip, and you right click and you say auto sync using audio or using sound, that it will move this one to match this one. It might have to be the other way, but figure that out. And then you can just do that for any clips that are in the timeline. So if you have, 15 clips or whatever, select this one and then this one, sync, this one, sync, this one, sync, right? That's how you can do it. Doing them all together in a batch, I don't think you can do in Resolve at the moment. I think you'd have to use a separate tool for that. Struggling to get my audio sounding the same from different clips. Any suggestions? Yes. EQ is your friend. EQ. Sam goes pretty deep into this in the Fairlight course that we have. So if you're looking for, if you're looking for a resource to get really deep with your audio, we have a Fairlight course that's available. We'll probably be making some free videos here pretty soon on that kind of stuff. There is a kind of a basics of audio video that Sam put out not too recently, or pretty recently. And it's on my channel. It just features our audio genius, Sam. But he's much better at that than I am. I can do it, but I don't like it as much as Sam does. So he's been helping out with that stuff, and he's a really, really good teacher, man. Dang. So it works out. I just started learning Resolve. Can it make smooth animations and motion graphics like After Effects? Because I like After Effects. Yeah, it totally can. Some people prefer After Effects for its motion stuff. There are quite a bit more like plugins and templates and everything for After Effects, just because people have been using it for that more than Fusion. But you can absolutely do, just about everything you can do in After Effects, you can do in Fusion. It doesn't like open an Illustrator file like After Effects does. It will open Photoshop files, but it's a little, like, that part is a little tricky. But as far as actually animating things and moving them around, it's pretty good. Other than you can't do the puppet tool. The puppet tool might be a reason to stick with After Effects if you're doing a lot of like 2D animation kind of stuff. Yeah. But a lot of stuff you can do in Fusion. I would say probably 95% of what you can do, for sure. Would you recommend Speed Editor for Resolve? I do like it. It depends on what you're doing. If you're cutting 5 vlogs a week, or you're working for a news station, or you're doing something where you're making a lot of videos and cutting them really quickly, Speed Editor might be really good. If you're doing something like you're working on one narrative film over the course of 8 months, it's not going to help that much. It's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? It depends on like the volume and speed of which you're doing, and then the complexity of the edits, right? So like a news edit or a vlog edit is sometimes just cutting stuff together, putting B-roll over it. It's a very simple edit, right? And that kind of stuff is really good for the speed editor. Whereas if you're doing like really complicated effects, or, you know, you have 15 different layers or something, probably speed editor isn't going to help you that much. You know what I mean? Do you think artificial intelligence will eliminate the need for video editors in the next 5 to 10 years? No. I think it will make the job a lot easier. A lot easier. Yeah. I mean, it's possible that it could do something like look at a video and pick the best parts and make a pretty good edit from it. Like, it can already sort of do that. So that part's going to get better, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it might. I think maybe certain kinds of edits it would, like something like just like editing a podcast or something, probably. But I think there's still going to need to be that human component for quite a while. What's the different project of DBL file and archive project? Can you show me archive project? So like an archive project is, it's your project with all of the media all together in one folder. That's an archive. Whereas like a DaVinci Resolve project, like a DRP file, is just the project file without the media. And like a DRB is a bin and a DRT is a timeline. And so those are parts of projects, but none of those have the media. So the media is only included in the archive project. Can you show me how to do a picture-in-picture effect? Well, hey, sure. How about that? How about we do that? Let's do it. Actually, I'm going to keep that there. I keep deleting it, but I think I might need it sometime. Look, I have this convenient thing. Let's look. So really, this is really simple how you do this, okay? So a picture-in-picture effect, you have your full screen stuff, and then you put your face cam on the second track. I remember words. And the most basic way is you can take this clip, go to the inspector and zoom it out, and then move it over, and bam, you have a picture-in-picture effect. It's really, really simple, right? It works. If you want to make it a little fancier, you can do some crazy things. You could crop it. It's one thing. So I can crop the right like this, crop the left like this kind of thing. You can also go here to our transform controls, and I can kind of move this around like this. You could put this up on the third layer and then grab something like a generator, like, I don't know, solid color generator like this. Throw this in here and crop this. Crippity crop like this. Bloop, bloop. And then you can kind of make a really quick kind of border for this. Change the color. Great. It's an orange border, right? And you would spend some time working on it, but that's essentially how the thing you're watching now is. It's pretty much made that way. You know? There's also ways to do like advanced masking and kind of things. Like you can have you can also do it with like with fusion effects. Like there's a few people that make like a fusion macro that will do that. And so we can kind of reset all of these. In fact, I might even have one. I might even have one that I use. I don't remember, because I was playing around with one the other day. But basically, I mean, you could go into Fusion and do something like, you know, crop this to a circle and then scale it down and put it in the corner like this, and then switch back to the edit page, and there we go. That's a cool thing. And you could export that. You could save that as a macro effect and then just drag it onto anything you want in the corner like that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. So yeah, pick one of those. Thank you for your hard work. I'm at work, so I'll have to watch later. Okay. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. The 5-hour video explaining all the Resolve pages was incredibly helpful. Learned so many things. Didn't know I needed. Currently working through the Star Wars Fusion tutorial and loving it. Awesome. Would really appreciate more Fusion content using the updated tools. Your teaching style makes complex concepts so digestible. That's awesome. What updated tools are you talking about? Anything specific? Export your project to be able to send? If you just want to like send your project to somebody, you can go to your home folder and just right click and say export project. And that's just going to like basically be a save as for your project file. And then you can send that to somebody, but you would need the media with it. So the archive would be a good thing if you want to send all the media to, because an archive will gather all of the media that you need and put it all in one folder with the project file. It's great. It's great. It was easy in Fusion. Yeah, I know. Guys, this is what's really, it's really powerful, Fusion, guys, because like it works on the timeline. It's super quick. You don't have to export it or anything. And you have all this crazy control over stuff. It's like, oh man, I just want to make this like circle crop thing. And I want to give it a drop shadow. Okay, there's a drop shadow. And I want to give it a, you know, a border. I think there's a, seems like there's an outline thing, but that's all right. We could do it this way. Use the same thing. Boop, 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 boop. Now we have an outline. We can change the color, whatever we want to do. Great, that looks awesome. There it is. And we can either reposition it here in the edit page like this, shloop, or we could do that in Fusion. There's a lot of cool things you can do. That's pretty neat. Can we do the audio mixing in DaVinci? Yep. Fairlight, that's where you want to be. Fairlight is the audio mixing powerhouse of Resolve. It's the dopeness. How can a dot setting be integrated into DaVinci so that it always be used as a tool? If you Google or ChatGPT how to install a Fusion macro, that's what that's called. And it'll walk you through like the folder that you put it in and stuff. It's a specific folder you drop it in. You can also make it into a DRFX file if you want to like sell it. That's a nice way to do it because you can just double click and it will open. It's sort of a stupid, it's sort of a roundabout way to make that settings file into a DRFX. It's kind of weird how you do it. You have to like add it to a certain folder structure and then put it in a zip file and then rename the zip file, which is, I feel like kind of a jank way to do it. But that's where it's at right now. Thanks a billion, Casey and team, for all your videos. Transitioning into DaVinci wouldn't be as smooth, as sweet as it is. You're literally my go-to for help. Oh, you sweet friend. Thank you. That's cool. To improve performance while editing, I use proxies or optimized media, but it clogs up my storage like freaking crazy. Is there a way to use proxies optimized media that isn't so chonky? Optimized media is chonky for sure. Proxies is too. Guys, you have to I'm not mad at, I'm not frustrated at you. I'm frustrated because like this is asked a lot. It's like, basically it's how do I edit video without taking up so much space on my hard drive? You need to have a big hard drive to edit video. If you don't have enough space, you need to get more space. That's the bottom line. Video takes a lot of space. And there's things you can do to make it better, but there's nothing better than having plenty of space for video. Do it. Just do it. Do it. Okay. How to do transitions using keyframes? Transitions using keyframes. Did you ask about that earlier? Am I not remembering that well? I'm sorry. Because if you're gonna like build a transition, I've seen instead of grabbing a transition effect, you grab the handles for a dissolve. Yeah. Okay, so there's, I think, two possible questions here. One is just how to add a transition. So, I mean, here you could right click and just like, oh wait, you can't see me. Here, if you have two clips together, you could right click and say add cross dissolve, right? And so that adds a transition. You can select this and you can actually change the transition type here. So I could do, do barn door or whatever. Shloop, like that. And then you can adjust the duration by dragging this like this. You could do that. But to make a transition, there's a couple ways to do it. Basically if you make a transition, like a good way to start this is just to go to like video transitions and go to, I think it's Fusion transitions here. Is that what these are? Yeah, Fusion transitions, and grab something like crash zoom, drag this on here, and then you can select that transition and go to this like little sparkle button, and that will let you edit it in Fusion. And basically what happens when you have a transition is you have a effect on this called what's it called? Anim curves. And basically it automatically goes from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0 on whatever you have connected. It's way too much to go into right now. But that's kind of the basic idea, is you hook everything up to anim curves, and then it will animate these automatically with code as the duration goes by. I believe Patrick has a really good video on anim curves, and I believe that Mr. Alex Tech has a great one on that. So I would defer to those guys because they're much better at that than I am. This is one of those categories of things that I'm like not super interested in, and so I haven't learned a lot about. And my wife will tell you that if I'm not interested in something, I don't pay attention to it that much. It's a flaw of mine, or it's a feature. It might be a feature. I think it's a feature. The one transition where the image appears first and then the edit video moves on with some kind of funk or anything with a beat. I don't really know what you're talking about. If you're talking about like adding transitions to a beat, that's something that you would do, lining things up here in the timeline. There's also ways to kind of have it react to the audio, but it's somewhat complicated to do that. But there's not like a quick switch you hit, unless I'm misunderstanding. I hope that's helpful. I know it's like, it's sort of hard with chat and everything. When I've added EQ and Fairlight and done my corrections, once I close it, how do I get it back up to make adjustments? Oh, yeah, that's relatively easy. I don't know if I can. So when you add an EQ, you can just double click on this thing. If you have it on a clip in the inspector, there's an EQ in the inspector, which this is only track level, but when you select a clip, it'll come up and you can double click on that. There's also, I should find something that I can actually, let me just bring up any kind of media here. Sure. Okay. So when you have a clip here, this is just some from one of my tutorials, but when you have a clip in Fairlight, you have an equalizer like this, so you can adjust that. That works. If you have an effect on it, it's a little tricky. So like if you have an effect like, I don't know, Fairlight EQ, sure, we'll put that on there. Then, and you close this, there's this little button over here in the inspector under effects, this right here. You can click on that and that'll bring it back up. And that happens with pretty much most effects in Fairlight, as well as I think color as well. I hope that's helpful. Okay. Recently restored a DRA, and while the file structure was there, the actual media content was missing. The media came from OneDrive. Have you seen issues with media on cloud storage? I mean, I don't have great experience with OneDrive, but it's also, sometimes when you restore a DRA, it just can't find the media that's right there, and you just have to tell it where it is again, even though it should obviously find it. Sometimes that's just a thing. I have a 26 terabyte hard drive. I store raw files on it. How do I store my cache and project files and backups correctly? Best practice would be to have like an SSD or something that you would save to separately. That would be the best thing to do. That said, I don't know how much it actually matters for performance anymore. It used to be a bigger deal than it is, I think. But somebody might argue with me on that. I would put my project files on a system drive, like in my PC or whatever, and then have the cache probably just on that hard drive, I would think, because the cache is it's making media that you're accessing just like your normal media. So I would probably just put it on the drive. If I want to become a pro freelancer, should I specialize in one thing like editing or just motion graphics, or learn everything and try and do it all? There's different thoughts on this. I would, if I were starting out, I would learn a little bit about everything and get good at one or two things. I would get really good at something. Like, I would understand basically how to edit, how to do color and how to do Fairlight, but specialize in cutting down a lot of footage or something like that and say, I'm great at that. Or, you know, get decent at editing, decent at fusion, decent at color, or decent at Fairlight, but be amazing at color, right? It's like, get decent at most things, because anymore, people are going to ask you to do other random stuff if you get especially if you're like doing freelance work. If you're like a freelance video editor, you're going to get clients who are like, oh, can you do all this color grading for me? You know what I mean? Like, and so you should, I feel like if you want to be able to take advantage of those jobs and have your clients happy, having a general idea of how all that stuff works is a good idea. Like, don't just say, I'm just an editor, because anymore, that doesn't mean putting together a story in the timeline with the general public. When you say video editing, they could mean effects. Somebody can say, I need my video edited, and they'll hand you something that's already put together and they just need effects. Literally, like, people will do that. So, yeah. Yeah. What's the right way to read ProRes RAW in DaVinci? I haven't read ProRes RAW, I don't think. I would assume that it comes in like a RAW file does, and that it's the same thing. In which case, it would be basically the same as any other footage, other than you'd probably want to color manage it, which is more based on your color space rather than that it's ProRes. Jacob Scott says, I'm still new at this and need help making lightsaber effects in DaVinci. I've tried Blender 2 and the results are okay, but very time consuming. Are there any plugins or shortcuts? There aren't any plugins that I know about. There is the Proto plugin from Patrick Sterling that might help with that. I would check that out, because that was kind of modeled after Andrew Kramer's Saber plugin, if I'm not wrong, which was designed to make great lightsabers. And so I would look at that for sure, because that's going to help you get the glow and everything pretty easily. But actually animating the lightsabers and everything is probably still going to be a hand done thing. So you'd have to combine that with a little fusion knowledge, probably, Jacob. I want to show clips side by side. One clip will play while the other is paused, then they'll switch. How can I make the paused video gray but full color once it starts playing? Easiest way to do that would be, if you're playing a video, like, let's just grab this one. Sure. Like, first of all, if you want to pause it, let's go over here. Let's right click, go to retime controls. And here we're going to say freeze frame. We're going to have a freeze frame right here. And we can just kind of move this out like this and have it freeze for as long as we need. And then it's going to keep going. And then right here, what I would do is just blade it right there. Go to the color page and make this first one black and white. Take the saturation down like that. Now we have this black and white, and then it plays in color, right? Magic. Magic. Magic Mask 2 in grading often loses its tracking data. It turns red and I have to track it again. Why does it lose the tracking and how can I prevent this? It loses the tracking. Okay, without being a sarcastic jerk, it is not perfect, and yes, I've experienced that a lot, and I don't totally know why. It's it can be a little buggy. Yep. I have a lot of problems with Magic Mask. For sure. It's quite good when it works, and sometimes it just gets grumpy and doesn't work. How do I use the XML files for the footage I received into Resolve to edit? I'm so confused right now. You can import an XML using, if you go to File, Import, you can go to Timeline, Import Timeline, and that will open an XML. Okay? So that's cool. When you do that, it probably won't find the footage, and it might not even bring it in perfectly right. And then you'll have to go and reconnect all the media, and then you'll have to kind of fix those problems as well. Yeah. So That's called conforming. It's called conforming, and it is the bane of video editors' existence. And colorists have to do that a lot, and have had to do that for many years, and it's quite awful. Wouldn't best practice be to have a NAS with SSD and 10 gig connection per hot swap? Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Not everybody has that, you know. But yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. When trying to upscale my freelancing business, are there a few tips you would recommend? I mean, from a general business perspective, the biggest thing I've learned being in business with my buddy Dan for 10, 11 years ourselves is it's really, really easy to try and be everything to everyone, and you need to niche down a little bit, generally. There needs to be focus. That's the biggest thing. And the more focused you are and the more clear, that's the thing, is like clear on what you do and what you don't. If you're clear on that, then you can sell yourself as that kind of person, right? You can sell yourself as doing this certain kind of service, right? So if you really love color and you want to be good at color grading, sell yourself as either as a video editor that does great color or as a colorist, right? Don't bill yourself as a sound guy. You know what I mean? Even though there are clients who will ask for jobs that need a sound guy. As hard as it is to say no to those kind of things, and I know sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, but overall, it's really good to be very, very clear on your strengths and what you really want to do. If for no other reason, then it's easier to market yourself, because you say, like, I'm a video editor. I will put together your video and I will make sure it has great color, right? And I'll do a basic mix on your audio, but you know what I mean? That's really big. And it's always a changing thing too, because you might be in a season of life where you want to do, where you just want to do sports edits, and even, like keeping things to a niche is good too. Like if you're really good at making edits for soccer teams, go with that. Like go and find every soccer team that you can find and see if you can do edits for them, right? Like pitch yourself that way rather than saying, I do video. You want people to be able to answer the question, what do you do, really easily. You want people to understand whether it's for them or not. And it's okay if it's not for them, right? So if you're doing weddings, be a wedding videographer and go hard on weddings, right? Because if you're just, I do all kinds of videos and I can do your wedding, that's a lot less compelling than, dude, I rock weddings. Who are you going to buy? Like, who are you going to hire for your wedding? Somebody who's amazing at weddings or somebody who does video that can also do weddings? And I think picking that niche is probably the hardest part and the scariest part. Pop cut. Okay, I'll have to look into that. I don't know how to do that right now, but that's cool. What's up, Justin Younger? It's good to see you, man. Something that's helped me hugely is your video on keyboard editing shortcuts. Hey, thanks. That's awesome. All right. Hey, guys, it's about time for me to go. It's about time for me to go. And I'm sorry, because I know there's still more questions. I'll see if I can, I'm going to read through them all and answer anything that I can really quickly in just a second. If I drop a Fusion effect onto a video clip and it airs out the playback, airs out the export as well, but isn't from the start of the clip, do you think it's the program or the hardware? Hard to tell on that. Hard to tell. It's possible the Fusion effect, there's something weird with the effect. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. It can be any number of things, which sucks. Sorry. Can we save media through media management when we copy a specific timeline, including all the media used in that timeline, even if the original files were taken from a different poorly managed locations? Yes, you can. There's ways to do that. How do I gain experience as a video editor so I can do it for a living after some time? This will work. Go and shoot stuff with your phone, or sign up for something like an Artlist account where you can get footage to practice with. Bring it into Resolve and make a video. Do that every day. Do that every day. Take footage and put it into Resolve and create a full video. Do that every day. Guarantee you, in a small amount of time, in just a few weeks, you are going to be really good. You're going to be really good at Resolve if you really put in that effort. That's what you need to do. It doesn't take money. It literally can be any kind of video. And if you are practicing the types of things that you are eventually going to charge people to do, that's the key. So if it's sports edits, go get footage of sports somehow. It can be from grandma's video camera. It doesn't matter. Put it into Resolve and make sports edits. Do what you want to do eventually as practice. All right. That's how you get good. Promise. Promise that's how you get good. Start the little, like, if you don't know how to import footage well, practice importing footage. If you don't know how to color grade, practice color grading. I know it's like super unsexy to say that, but that is the key. That's the key. If you need some help and you need some guidance, get a course. We have a lot of courses, groundcontrol.film. All right. That is very, very important. Okay. But mostly it's practice. The reason why a course is so good is it tells you what to practice. It gives you some guidelines and says, okay, practice this now, and then practice this, and it walks you through it, right? But really what you're going to get out of it is what you put into practice time. Does that make sense? Yeah, any stock footage site works. I like Artlist because they have, that's the reason why we work with Artlist. This isn't sponsored by Artlist, but like we work with them a lot because literally we use them for so much stuff. They have ungraded footage that you can download and practice color grading. Dude, it's so dope. Seriously, so good. All right. Hey, thank you guys. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream. Thank you for buying our courses. Thank you for watching YouTube videos and for all of the things that you do, because that lets us do the things that we get to do. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks. You're so sweet. Okay. Bye. Bye. See you later.